First of all, my greetings to all members of the Hwa Chong family, both present and past teachers, present and past students, and also staff members. On this special occasion of the celebration of the 40th anniversary of the founding of the college, it gives me great pleasure to be able to have the chance to say something of my experience with the college. I arrived on the scene in June 1980, and it was really a big challenge for me, because hitherto my experience was confined to primary schools, secondary schools, and the junior college was my first experience. So in order to meet with this challenge, I needed serious thinking about preparing what I should do. Well, actually, I should not have worried too much, because when I arrived on the scene, the welcome was so warm that it overwhelmed me, the teachers and the students. And my experience throughout my stay at Hwa Chong College for nearly 9 years was a very happy experience and very fruitful and enriching experience for me. I hope it was the same for all who passed through the institution. There were, of course, ups and downs. There were anxious moments as well. But let's talk about the happy moments that I myself experienced there. First of all, I was very happy when, at the beginning of the year, we received the first batch of students. But then in those days, when they first came in January, they were put on probation for 3 months. The arrangement was very unsatisfactory, really, because after 3 months, when the results were out, some, unfortunately, had to leave because they did not qualify the admission standard. Nevertheless, after the 3 months, then things got settled down, and I found the team of teachers and students worked very well, and academically, they were mostly on top, and the teachers themselves worked very hard to keep up with the students, and I myself had a small role to play in not looking after the academic standards so much as to see that the general welfare of the students, that is, from an educator's point of view. I wanted to see that every one of them would grow up to be a good citizen, a good son or daughter of the family, and also to be able to make contribution to society. And I think all these ambition of mine, I think have been fulfilled. I've seen several generations of Hwa Chong students having left Hwa Chong, but still clinging on to the very good values they learned from the college, from one another, and from their teachers. So in that respect, I must say I have been more than satisfied, and I was in fact grateful for the opportunity to have served Hwa Chong. Of course, as I said, there were happy moments and there were some sad moments. One of them was, of course, I think well known to some of the Hwa Chong students, was a crisis which we faced in 1987, I think, when we had to evacuate from the school buildings because the buildings were thought to be unsafe, and we had hurriedly to get out of the building to get temporary shelter, so to speak, in Nyan College for 3 weeks in June. Now, that was a sad moment, especially when the announcement was made to the assembly that all had to leave the premises almost immediately, because there was no question of staying behind. The danger posed by the cracks in some of the parts of the building were too big a risk to take. So, as I said, it was a very sad and traumatic experience for everyone, from teachers down to students. And we could see them sobbing as they left the college and had to go to temporary premises in Nyan Polytechnic. So 3 weeks was spent there, in makeshift classrooms, not lecture rooms. And when the new second semester began, we were ready to go to the borrowed premises of Bukit Batok Secondary School. So we moved to Bukit Batok and we stayed for a number of years. Now, that experience taught us a lot of things, because students all along, well, if they had not met with this traumatic experience, they were very comfortable with life, so to speak. No really crisis to speak of. But because of this, then they had to upset the schedule. They had a feeling of insecurity, and our programs also were interrupted. But from this, I learned that young people, if faced with adversities, could overcome adversities in the right spirit, and they would be richer for it. And indeed, it proved to be so, because in the next year's announcement of A-level results, they actually, the results surpassed the latest high standards achieved by the students. So we had another record. So in spite of the hardships, in spite of the uncertainties, and in spite of the traumatic experience that they had to go through. So I always believe in young people. However, we are not to welcome tragedy, of course. But if tragedy come, every young person, I believe, would have the kind of daunting spirit to overcome whatever adversity it comes in. Because in life is not always, as they say, a bed of roses. So you have to be ready. And indeed, that is so with some of them. Now, coming back to Hwa Chong, I remained there for almost 2 years before I retired, and they settled down there very well, much to the expectations of the teachers, and the teachers worked very hard, and that I must pay tribute to all the teachers. Not only the teachers of that batch, but also all the teachers in Hwa Chong. For me, I was very concerned, not only with academic results, but with the whole person that Hwa Chong produced. And indeed, it now proves that some of the Hwa Chong students you have learned from the press or from the outside or from friends, they have truly lived up to the spirit of Hwa Chong.